Synthaholics.
Synthaholics, thank you so much for downloading this episode. Today we have the next current episode of Lower Decks, but we also have our some guests on today. We have Adam, Sayne, and Serfiel from the Conspirinormal Podcast. Welcome, guys.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be here.
Us. Thanks for coming on.
We have Adam and Serfiel have this Conspirinormal Podcast, which deals with everything from UFOs to the paranormal to conspiracies to, unusual stories in history. But they have currently set up a conference called Strange Reality Conference, which is this September 25th and 27th. And they are going to have they're going to do it online instead of in person this year because of COVID. And Adam or Serfiel, if you want to just give them kind of the lowdown of everything that that you got set up for this year for 2020.
Yeah, I'll start real quick, Adam. I just want to say that it's going to be a real stimulating experience. We've got a lot of guests talking about a lot of different stuff, but all with real unique perspectives on those different subjects. And it really reflects kind of what we bring with the podcast, with that same thing, a real diversity of subjects and also really unique takes on all those different subjects.
Yeah. And you guys, like I've said before, you guys have had this podcast, Conspirinormal, which you guys handle all these subjects, and you have a lot of them are your guests that you've had in the past, but they all have such brilliant ideas and deep knowledge on certain subjects. You're just like, wow, where are these people learning all this stuff? And just the information that you could get just from this conference, which is $20, which is not a lot, for 3 days. You can get watch these guys speak and give their lectures. So awesome stuff.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great weekend, September 25th through the 27th. And we've got like you said before, we've got a really great lineup of speakers. So I can kind of do a little rundown, if you like, about who we have coming.
Sure.
So if you go to the strangerealitiesconference.com, you can see this, and you can see who's speaking at this major event. We've got 21 speakers for like $20, so that's going to be like less than $1 a speaker, really. And so we've got Brent Rains, who's like kind of an old-time ufology guy. He's been studying UFOs since he was like 15, so he's been doing this for like 50 years or something now, which is pretty incredible. And he's going to be talking about some of like the links between psychic phenomenon and UFOs is going to be kind of like his presentation. Aaron Goulias, who is the host of the Saucer Life podcast, he is going to be not talking about UFOs, but he's going to talk about conspiracy theories. And he's going to talk about conspiracy theories that have a happy ending, at least for the people that believe in them.
Interesting.
And John Tinney, who is also going to be there, formerly of a great show called Ghost Stalkers, if you've ever seen that. And John is pretty well rounded in all this different kind of weird conspiracy theory and paranormal stuff. And he's going to be talking about kind of like conspiracy, like modern, how weird the conspiracy world has gotten lately. Okay.
Quite weird.
David Metcalf going to be talking about gas station grimoires. In other words, like magical, kind of weird semi-magical texts that you can find in gas stations and grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Greenfield, who is the author of Secret Cipher of the Euphonauts. He is going to be doing like a question and answer session. So if anybody's going to be watching that on Saturday night, it's real interactive. Just think of a question that you would like Alan Greenfield to answer.
Oh, I've got questions.
Okay, excellent. Great. Stephanie Quick, who comes all the way from California, she is going to be talking about synchronicities and how to manifest them in your daily life.
Cool.
And the great Red Pill Junkie, all the way from Mexico City, he is going to talk about UMO, a UFO case that occurred in Spain in the 1950s and 60s.
Nice.
That a lot of people in the United States do not know about. And the great Tim Banal, host of Banal of America, he's going to be talking about a Flat Earth conference that he went to last year. Kind of what Serfiel, you kind of typified as like a gonzo reporting.
Yeah, or anthropologist.
Yeah.
Hope it's a well-rounded talk.
Yeah, see what you did there. Guy Malone, a good friend of mine. He's going to be coming at us from Roswell, New Mexico. He's going to be talking about UFO, about aliens as demons. And he was at the conference last year, as was Tim Banal. And also from last year, coming back, is Timothy Renner, who is going to be talking about, well, we don't really know, but we think it's going to be about Bigfoot. So more than likely, it'll be about Bigfoot. Kiki Dombrowski, she is a witchcraft practitioner, tarot reader, and she is going to be talking about prophecies, and about prophecies that don't always work out and some that do. And Greg Bishop, the author of a great book called Project Beta, he is going to be talking about some more kind of metaphysical aspects of the UFO phenomenon. And Jenny Ashford, who is the host, one of the hosts of the 13 O'Clock podcast. And Jenny is going to talk about some true crime case that took place in St. Augustine, Florida, back, I think, in the 70s. So we've got some true crime, and that's going to be that Friday night. Steven Sider, also known as Recluse, he is going to discuss something very odd and parapolitical and conspiracy theory related. So you guys get ready for that. That's a mystery as of this point. Jack Montgomery and Tony Cale, they study folk magic. Jack Montgomery actually is a folk magic practitioner of the powwow tradition. They are going to be doing on Saturday, the 26th, about folk magic and the paranormal. And Joshua Cutchin, who's going to be talking about who was there with us last year in 2019. He is going to discuss Bigfoot and some of the paranormal aspects of Bigfoot. Reverend Michael Carter, who is going to be speaking about UFOs and the Bible. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Future, our good friend Michael Bennett, who is going to talk about some of his research that he has found out and done for his upcoming, he has one of the books out, but his trilogy called Two Masters and Two Gospels series.
Yeah, fascinating stuff there.
And Ren Collier, who is an occultist and good friend of ours, good friend of the show as well. Ren is going to be speaking about the Hollow Earth and some of the chthonic deities that inhabit the Hollow Earth. He's also going to be helping out. He'll also be there to kind of help out and moderate the question and answer session with Alan Greenfield.
Nice.
And Soraya Askath, host of Where Did the Road Go? He is going to be discussing time and kind of like the mechanism of the paranormal. So we're really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
So that's the rundown of speakers, guys. We hope
21.
that, we got a lot. We got a lot crammed in, but there's a lot of information that's probably going to make your head explode. So if you want to have that happen, come join us at the Strange Realities Conference, September 25th, 26th, and 27th of this year.
I was saying before that, I've listened to you guys and your podcast that, there's every episode gives me a little bit of knowledge of something I did not know before. Or, like I said, my head will explode because of some shocking or unbelievable, crazy thing that I've just learned that I somehow have survived all my life and not known about. And it's always fascinating. You guys, your guests have so many cool guests you guys have on, and you guys know how to ask the right questions or drill down to the things that are maybe the most fascinating about what you talk about. It's great stuff. I just revisited. What was it? One of your episodes recently where you talked about American Cosmic. Which was by
Diana Pasuka.
Pasuka, thank you. Yeah. I mean, that podcast alone is completely like brain shattering.
Yeah,
because what she talks about is she wrote that she's a professor and she works at a university and she's studied mostly religion her whole life. And then she starts seeing links into UFOs and aliens that are peppered through things, but also have like relations. It's hard to like articulate, but how there's relations between religion and UFOs, and then how a lot of these modern people in technology today are looking. And in the medical industry are looking to use UFO and their technologies and all sorts of things surrounding it as something to build off of. And it's just you guys. The questions you asked her were like so important and so amazing. It's like I don't even know where to begin. Like that's just one example. Okay. You guys have a lot of different episodes that talk about it.
Thanks for that in particular, because that was one of our best shows, hands down. She had already been on a lot of shows, and we just had like really specific, detailed questions, and we really wanted to get to the heart of some things that we felt she was just like hinting at. Mm-hmm. So yeah, thanks for that. We really did make a concerted effort to make that what I think is one of her best interviews about that book.
Oh my God, it was. I'm looking here. It's your episode. It's 254. Just worth listening to, and what she has to say. And she came in the whole alien UFO thinking. Like I'm not going to write a book about this, and then she ends up having to write a book because everything falls in her lap because of it. So, and that's how a lot of, not every one of your guests, but there's a lot of things there like that. People are looking at other things, and all of a sudden they're just look at all this other stuff I just found that I didn't even think was here. So, and that's the thing is a lot of people. Hear about either UFOs or cults or paranormal, and they kind of dismiss it. And what I just don't think people realize that whether you believe in it or not, this is part of our American heritage. Maybe worldwide heritage is that, but it's everywhere, and you don't think about it.
Yeah.
But like Dave Metcalf talking about the gas station grimoires, like.
Yeah.
There's magic peppered or magical practices peppered throughout all sorts of things within our daily lives that we don't even think about.
Yeah, and you don't even none of this like requires belief.
Right.
It's more about uncertainty, and just like with sci-fi, how often these stories aren't really about space or aliens. It's about us. And that's what we really try to explore, that like social dimension to all these ideas, and what effects happen because people do believe in these things, even if we're skeptical of them personally, or Yeah,
absolutely. And it's just like whether you believe everything that everyone says or it's still a great exercise to go through and think about what they're saying, and trying to dissect all the arguments and the thoughts that they present, either to you or during the Strange Reality Conference. Man, there's just so much good stuff here, and I'm excited for for the 25th and through 27th to listen to what these people have to say, but also what you could possibly how the world grows every time I hear you guys and hear what they have to say, your guests, my world just expands. So that's what's great about it.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. I'm glad we can do that.
Yeah,
we're
definitely
glad.
Do.
We're glad that we can be of service in that way. I mean, that's kind of like always my goal in making a podcast, because I used to listen to shows a lot, even before stuff was really even called a podcast, just like internet radio shows. And I really I'd go to sleep listening to stuff like that. And it was always just kind of like that same way that I got reached by those shows is the way that I wanted to be able to reach somebody else, Mm-hmm. So that really makes me happy that does do that for you.
Absolutely. And you guys have been around for a while, and that you guys have stuck to it and kept on producing your shows is real testament to, your interest and, just I guess I'm sure not every day is a joy, but what you really want to put out in this world.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely grown over the years. It's changed over the years. I mean,
yeah, you guys have changed a lot. Yeah.
There's several lineup changes. I've been the only
everyone's favorite bands.
Yeah, it's kind of like Black Flag. I'm the only, Greg Ginn was the only constant. So, that's me. I'm kind of the only constant, but
it was Luke. Luke was Dez then. I don't want to get too punk rock, but yeah, I think Luke was Dez.
But I mean, definitely, having this guy on the show, Serfiel, I mean, he really knows his shit. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, and he's really asked really good questions. Really thinks about the stuff that he taught, that whereas before, I'd have my old co-host Luke, he would sleep through the entire
I know, I remember that, Adam. I remember listening to it, did I thought it was a joke first, and I was like, did he really fall asleep?
Oh no, it wasn't a joke. There's plenty of pictures of him sleeping through an episode with his headphones on, and I'd ask him questions, and he would always defer to Rob and our old producer / other co-host, and so yeah.
Serfiel is, it's funny because you don't always say a lot, but when you do, it's like you ask the question or a really wow, I wouldn't think to throw that together or something like that, or something I didn't even know about. That's and like you were saying, Adam, before, is Serfiel really knows his shit. The stuff he says, you're like, whoa, what? I'm Googling shit. I'm like, what's that?
Well, I mean, more than anything, this is really great opportunity for me to pick people's minds and just really try to ask stimulating questions that would stimulate me. So that's just what I try to bring to it, and we both try to really get in there, deep in the weeds, as we say, to bring something different. Even if you've heard someone on another podcast, we always try to make it a little different. And I guess it's just a little more, it's a little more refined and just a little more cult. We don't mind just getting kind of obscure. And even though that's not going for the masses, we get people like you who really appreciate it. People have been into this stuff for a long time and are getting deeper into the weeds. So, just try to provide that.
Serfiel and I are both kind of from an old tradition with all this stuff, especially the conspiracy literature. We kind of come from that whole tradition, kind of old school 90s kind of tradition about it, as opposed to what it's become now. And once I kind of knew like Serfiel was into something like as obscure as like King Kill 33 and James Shelby Downard, I was like, yeah, I think this guy need to see if he was interested in being a part of this. But Serfiel was a listener for a long time.
Yeah.
The real question I have though, how much fucking reading do you guys actually do? Because I mean, you guys, the stuff that you guys know, I mean, you must be like reading constantly.
It depends. It depends on what guests you have on. It depends on whether they have a book out or not. Lately, we haven't been doing too much because
you're doing all your prep work for this.
We're doing all the prep work for the conference. I'm sure that will change as soon as like that's over and we're getting other people on. There's been a ton of reading. I mean, trying to cram in a book into a week.
That's hard.
It can be pretty hard, and it can be also just like, I'd love to just read something for fun occasionally.
Yes, right.
But lately, I've kind of been able to do that just because we've there's been no books to read, but
sure.
Eventually, we'll start getting back into that again.
Yeah. Well,
we also we'll also do roundtable discussions too, which doesn't really require any kind of reading, just a familiarity with your guests, and since we do have repeat guests, we know what they're talking about and all that. So,
right.
But Adam is being humble because he's very well read.
I know. I both of you are. I mean, I've picked up on that pretty quickly. The stuff
that's kind of we're just like like Adam's saying. I mean, we're old school, and that was really about books. The medium is a message, and there's a big generation gap in a lot of the stuff right now, and a lot of people into Conspirinormal or type people who like reading books and stuff versus just YouTube University,
right.
People who just get into this stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with any of that, I mean, everyone, we had pretty, mainstream gateways and all this stuff too, and funny old exploitative books and movies and, everything else in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, that's definitely something, that's what it really means to be old school in this stuff, is reading books.
Yeah, it's one of those things that the more you start scratching at the surface, you see, oh wait, there's this book could link to 8 other different books that you could be reading on the subject, and those 8 other books will go to another 8 other books, and there's no end in sight,
I got real voracious habits from being in college. I'd studied international relations and just doing some of the studies and papers I did. I like just like kind of weeding through material to find the nuggets of information that I need. Also, I usually keep a few books rotating as well, but like I'm just good at like getting, like you said, one thing leads to 5 others, like getting to those and just like grabbing all the nuggets I need and whatever. I just like, we're both generalists, we're both big picture guys, and that's why we like trying to just put it all in like a framework.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously from the breadth of the width and breadth of your guests that you commonly have on it. You guys do see everything, like you're trying to see, or not everything, but as much as you can, trying to get in all sorts of subjects. So. Great stuff. So
appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I can't recommend you guys enough. Your podcast and just everything you guys do. So and this conference will be awesome. So hope you guys definitely go get some tickets for the StrangeRealityConference.com. $20. It's not a lot at all. And the mind bomb you're about to let loose in your head is going to be incredible.
And everybody should check out your episode, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm on there. Yeah, I'm on there.
That was episode 305.
I zipped in there one day. Yeah, it was A lot of fun talking to you guys, and Serfiel just completely blew me away because he knew all about Snakeland. So
that was some synchronicity there, man. Definitely.
That was weird. That was really weird. So yeah, I and you guys are out in Tennessee, in Nashville, and my graphic novel takes place in the Buffalo area. So I thought that was bizarre that you would know so much about it, but obviously your musical proclivities had brought you into that world. So, guys, we are going to talk about something a little stranger. This is Lower Decks. This is the new animated series for Star Trek. It's guys, and Adam and Serfiel, it's done in the style of Rick and Morty.
Okay, cool.
Like that. It's silly. It's not like the old 70s, Star Trek animated series. If you ever saw that,
they tried to be so serious.
They tried to be serious, but it was so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of those back in the day.
They're hard to watch. They're hard to watch. I mean, back in the day, you were probably like, "Yeah, it's on, so I'll watch it," because nothing else is on. So,
what, Spock drawing a pentagram, summoning the devil is boring? What?
That is an episode.
They must have just started this, right? This apparently, I guess, just started last month.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the sixth episode.
It's on CBS All Access.
Yes, sir.
It's funny, Aaron. A couple weeks ago, when we were talking about who we were expecting to see, I was like, "Oh man, I hope it's Q, John Delancey." And I seen online the last couple of days that Q is indeed going to show up.
I saw that too, but I wondered if that was just somebody like drawing a picture of Q in the style of Lower Decks.
I think it's been confirmed that he's going to be in it because they did
cool.
Star Trek Day, so I was like, "Oh, sweet! I called it! Woo!"
Well, this is Terminal Provocations, and this is Season 1, Episode 6, and aired September 10th, 2020. And we have the beginning where they're all trying to make the sounds of their ship, the USS Cerritos, and the commander, Jack Ransom, thinks that something's weird going on, so he pulls his phaser and he tackles a Boimler to the ground. So that's the beginning joke on that one. It was kind of funny.
There was comparing it to like the Enterprise D sound or the Enterprise, the different engine sounds, and doing some techno babble on like, "Oh no, this is why it would sound this way," or whatever. I was like, I don't remember how they sound.
Yeah, I know, right? So
it's just background noise. I'd never paid that much attention to it.
Then we get into where the Cerritos is in this wreckage field. It's just all this wreckage of space, and we see it's all Starfleet stuff. So it was a Starfleet ship, and it was one of those old original series Antares class. We saw that in what was that? Charlie X, I believe.
Oh yeah,
when we first saw it. So that's the original series. But we see that, and they want to reclaim the wreckage, but then there's these weird aliens, the Drukmani, and they're like, it's been here for hundreds of years. We're claiming this wreckage as our own, and they're having this argument. In the meantime, Boimler and Mariner are changing out some cores for the shields. That's what it is. And they want to go to this party, which is what's it called? A
choo-choo train dance,
a choo-choo
party.
Dance or something like that.
It's a concert thing,
right? And they their friend Fletcher, who seems to be this nice guy in the beginning, who isn't that nice in the end, says, "Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go to the dance. I'll take care of this work." And they're like, "Oh, thanks," and they take off. Meanwhile, Tendi and Rutherford Rutherford's going to teach Tendi how to do a spacewalk through his hologram program.
Badgie.
And this weird, I don't even know what you want to call him.
It's an anthropomorphized Starfleet badge, is the mascot that helps you through the programs for anything you want to know as a Starfleet cadet.
Yeah. And they start doing the program, but then it's glitchy because apparently he hadn't finished working on the program, and he kicks it at some point. Man. Yeah, there's a loading bar on Badgie, and there's and he's sitting there, and he's slowly loading, and he kicks him, and then Badgie takes it personally at that point. When then we jump over back to Boimler and Mariner, and they come back and they find that their buddy Fletcher, who let them take off while he did the work, he said that he was stunned. Somebody came by, shot him, and stunned, and stole one of the isolinear cores that he was working on, and then they have to track it down. And they first go to their
he blames it on Delta Shift.
Yeah, the Delta Shift works the nights. They're the night shift. So, and they blame it on them, and they get into kind of an argument with Delta Shift, and then they realize that it couldn't have been Delta Shift because Delta Shift was at the choo-choo dance. So there's no way they could have done that. So
the ship was run in the style of Jellicoe.
Yes, exactly. And then meanwhile, the captain of Cerritos Freeman and these aliens are still arguing over the debris, and what they end up doing is putting tug of war with their tractor beams, and then the aliens just start slamming the debris onto the Cerritos, the ship itself.
Because the alien ship has no actual weapons.
Yes, but the captain refused to fire on them.
I love the Bajoran. He's like totally Worf. Let's fire. Yeah. Let's kill them. I really want to shoot their warp core, please.
Exactly. And from there, they go down to their crew quarters with Boimler, Mariner, and Fletcher, and they find out that Boimler has had the isolinear core.
Fletcher had it on his bed.
I'm not Boimler. Fletcher had it in his bed the whole time, and he tried to link up with it with his brain. Really weird. He
tried to Barclay it.
Yeah, and apparently this thing becomes sentient and starts becoming a giant octopus attacking everybody in the room.
So what's with the giant octopus AI things? Like, is Star Trek trying to tell us that the artificial... did they want Star Trek to become Dune? Is that what they're trying to do here? So we've got Discovery.
I was thinking sort of like the Sentinels from The Matrix.
Well, no, we got like in Discovery we've got the tentacles control monster, and then in Picard we've also have the potential tentacle control monster that's going to wipe out all sentient life, and now we have a tentacle core thing. So it seems like they're trying to connect everything with a weird tentacle AI monster. Except this one that thinks it's stupid and maybe it goes back in time and wants to be Control.
Yeah, that's actually Control in the end.
This is Control's origin.
It's Fletcher's psychology synced up with it. And then we go into this whole fight. They're trying to defeat it by doing all sorts of weird things, but they end up blowing it out in airlock, where it goes onto the alien Drukmani ship and starts tearing that apart. Meanwhile, back on the holodeck, Badgie is attacking Tendi and Rutherford when the safety controls on the holodeck go off, and he is absolutely trying to murder them.
He's bloodthirsty.
He's chasing them. He is bloodthirsty. He is chasing them all over the place, and they change different sceneries. They
go to a Bajoran just neighborhood or whatever, and like he starts ripping their arms off and biting their eyes out.
And as they run up the mountain, they realize Badgie's getting tired, so something's glitchy with the program that Badgie is getting tired running up a mountain. So he decides to change it to a frozen wasteland. So as they run from it in the frozen wasteland, they're all getting cold, and finally Rutherford has to run and attack Badgie, and there's a brutal fight between Badgie and Rutherford, and he, in the end, snaps
Badgie's neck. I didn't realize Badgie had a neck.
No, but and then from there, what happens is because of their shields are all messed up because of the missing isolinear core and all sorts of other problems, they can't fire their phasers on this ship, on the alien ship, and they end up they don't know what they're going to do, but then they find out that this sentient isolinear core had attacked the ship and it was tearing up the alien ship that Fletcher and Boimler and Mariner blew out the airlock. And from there, they're victorious in their mission, and Fletcher gets promoted to lieutenant and gets sent off to the USS Titan.
And this is where I thought we're going to have our crossover cameo, have like Riker fire him or whatever. It does not happen.
But Fletcher does get fired because he's so incompetent, and he goes back to Earth, and that's where we kind of the final joke, because Fletcher is a screw up. So, and that's the episode. Dave, what did you think about this episode of Lower Decks?
They're fitting a lot into like 20-something minute episodes, because it's a holodeck problem episode plus like a trying to negotiate peace episode, and I mean it was well done. I mean there's jokes in it, but it's starting to line up more with regular Star Trek episode. It's silly, but it's less extreme than some of the episodes have been. So it's getting pretty good. But like the Badgie thing was just kind of crazy. It just becomes homicidal. It's like safety protocols off because we're saving power. I'm like, well, why didn't the hologram just turn off completely?
Just shut down
to save power.
Yeah.
If that's your excuse, reasons. Holodeck reasons never make any sense.
Right.
It's a holodeck episode, so I mean. It was pretty cool, and like just Badgie going insane, and then after they think he's back to normal, he's like, "Yeah, we'll see." It's kind of great. What about you?
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. Lower Decks have not disappointed me once. It's been funny. I get chuckles out of it, and all the little Star Trek jokes are great. I really thought they were going to find something in those containers, maybe some. A character or somebody in a buffering pad like Scotty in that Next Generation episode Relics.
Man, that'd suck if Scotty had to go eat Franklin twice.
I know, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Maybe we'd eat Fletcher.
Oh, yeah. Fletcher, you're next.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I love this stuff. And, these guys, this Michael McMahon who put together Lower Decks, he did fantastic. He's doing a fantastic job. I can't say enough good things. And it's just a joy to watch, It's like I feel like even though it's a comedy and it's silly, they hit all the points that you want to see in a Star Trek episode, even though it's not like a serious episode.
Yeah, and even with all that, it still feels more like Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery and Picard. Like it's not even close. It feels like Star Trek should feel. There's like a setup, there's a problem, they have to solve it, and they do that, and that's the episode. It's been pretty good. Looking forward to seeing Q. I'm wondering when he'll pop up.
If that's true, Dave.
If that's true.
Adam Serfiel, you guys, I know you guys haven't got the chance to watch Lower Decks or any of the newer Trek, as far as I know. But what are you guys? You guys are into sci-fi, obviously.
Yeah.
What's your take on Star Trek? Do you have favorite episodes or series or?
I've been really into Star Trek. I haven't really watched it recently. Mm-hmm. I've seen just about every episode of the Next Generation, the original series, Deep Space Nine. Mm-hmm. I was into, and and Enterprise. The only one I haven't really watched consistently was Voyager. Well, I guess Discovery now that that's out. But I've definitely been I've been a Trek fan for a while. I enjoy it. The original series. A lot of the writing was really strong. It was really kind of a great. It was a great kind of successor to like the Twilight Zone and what they were trying to do with social commentary.
Yeah, Absolutely.
One of my favorite episodes was, probably of any TV show really, is Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
Oh yeah, that's a great episode.
With the Frank Gorshin with the
the Riddler.
Yeah, with the with the black on one side and the white on the other, and like that said so much at the time. I mean, you can really see what the writers and I guess Roddenberry were really trying to do with that whole with that. And there was several other things that they did on that show that were cutting edge. I mean, the first interracial kiss, and you know, and it just having Nichelle Nichols on the show to begin with, you know, was pretty important.
Broke a lot of boundaries for sure, and it made a lot of social comedy, like you said, like the Twilight Zone as well.
Right.
What was the one the Twilight Zone, Maple Street, the
the monsters are on Maple Street.
The monsters on Maple Street are that's such a, oh my god, you watch that one, you're just like, oh my god.
It's a pretty scathing indictment of McCarthyism, even though McCarthyism was already gone by then. But have you ever seen that one, Serfiel?
I don't recall it. I've seen all the originals and the films and the Next Generation, but I don't recall that offhand.
Yeah, that's a Twilight Zone episode. Yeah, that's a Twilight Zone episode, and it's well worth seeing. It's like this UFO buzzes by this little like neighborhood, and everybody starts getting paranoid, basically pointing fingers at each other, and that's a great one. If
until someone gets hurt.
If only we kind of heated that today, right?
Yeah, I know. But it's great. It's good stuff.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, but you know, Star Trek itself. I mean, they had such a great cast of just writers, and you know, Richard Matheson and DC Fontana and several other people that were just a part of that whole crew. And Next Generation was great too. You know, I mean, that was a whole other, dare I say it, generation of writers. You know, guys like Ron Moore, and which later went on to Deep Space Nine and Battlestar Galactica. Which Battlestar Galactica is probably really my favorite sci-fi show. Which
you actually reference, I think, at the end of that episode of American Cosmic.
You
talk about Caprica.
Yeah,
is that
the spinoff? Yeah,
God, it was such a great idea, and they just ruined it.
Dave's not as forgiving.
I think I only watched like 2 or 3 episodes of it. I really didn't get into it.
I watched it was all of it because I wanted it to be like this cool silent origin story. Instead, it was like this awful family drama in space. I'm like, stop it! It's what they did with the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Instead of making a Terminator TV show, it was a teen drama show that happened to have Terminators in it. It's like, stop it! You're doing it wrong.
But that series, I mean, they just took what they learned in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and they just really turned it into something completely different.
Yeah.
And they really followed in that whole beginning of the 3rd season of Battlestar is like some of the best stuff that's ever been written for television.
It was amazing, but the rest of the 3rd season and 4th season, they kind of dropped the through thread, and they started getting Star Trek-y, like where the episodes didn't connect as much.
Yeah, I think the 3rd season was kind of like that. They were trying to do more standalone episodes.
I didn't,
but
I was really, because season 1 and 2 were so great because of the through thread, and I was a little bit sad. And then they had the whole episode where they went on strike, and I'm just like, really? You're the last of humanity, and you're going to go on strike because of working conditions? Yeah, it sucks, but do you want everyone to be dead?
Season 3 opened up so strong with just like it was a pretty scathing indictment of the Iraq War.
God, such a great
that's what it was really. That whole, like, I think it was like 3 parts to that first. I just watched it like a couple of years ago again, and that show really still holds up.
Season 3, that's cool. The beginning. That's when they drop the Battlestar into the atmosphere, and it just drops.
Right.
Yeah, that was amazing. Right. It was such a great opener.
Yeah, that was an incredible show. But yeah, I mean, Star Trek. I've always enjoyed it. I haven't watched, like I said, I haven't really watched it recently, but I like the movies too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think certain of the movies are good.
Well,
I didn't really care too much for like probably some of the later, like anything after First Contact. I wasn't too crazy about.
Yeah,
but,
they became more like some of them were like episodes just made into movies. When you think of
like mediocre episodes made in movies,
like Insurrection and stuff like that, seemed like an episode. What do you guys think? Well, I mean, okay, because you guys haven't got a chance to catch Discovery or the new Picard, so it's not putting that aside. Like Dave talked about Sarah Connor Chronicles and all sorts of like TV shows. Like we used to have such great writers that would like tie all this stuff together, and you'd be like, you think about the episode, even like a day later, you'd be like, man, that was a cool episode, or that was a good point, or something like that. Like just something like clicked in your head. Like, why is writing in such a slump? Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, why are people like bereft of ideas?
It's a good question.
I want to say real quick. I think a lot of things are, honestly, music too. A lot of things I think are too democratized, and I think that they do too much market research, and there's not enough like executives of media companies who want to like push art forward and make big decisions that may not be popular at the time. And I think things are too, the boardroom and the corporate influence of actual like, the corporate boardroom's influence in all aspects of media has really just made everything about this quarterly thing that tries to serve popular tastes and kind of creates this like cybernetic feedback loop instead of, I think, a lot of the old record men in the music industry or old movie characters and executives, I think a lot of those people, took chances and helped facilitate a lot of the great stuff that's going to last forever. But I think now, they're just too like concerned about, keeping things at like a 13-year-old level and, getting all their market research and, they even like we know. I don't know if they do it in TV too, but I know in music, like they actually do, like they hook people up to electrodes and watch their brain waves for songs and decide what to like lead and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So like, I think things are too democratized or like too worried about public taste and like not enough people really just like taking chances and like making decisions to push things forward like what you used to have.
I think it's I think part of it too is just like it's just the ratings game and it's the networks it's the networks canceling these shows because there's a lot of shows that have gotten canceled and like the writers have all these like really grand ideas.
They won't develop the shows just like they won't develop a musical artist.
Right. And they're just like well, they want to do this like five season story arc and then but then all of a sudden the show gets canceled because it's not good enough in ratings, and I think that probably hurts writing too. So some of them probably feel like well, we can't really do that because it might get canceled. So let's just tie it up. Let's just can it up into one season or whatever.
But we're all moving past that whole paradigm right now with the online studios and streaming service studios, and so there's been a lot of great content. I think things are getting people are allowed to take chances because the costs aren't so much and they don't have to worry so much about advertising. So I think I think it's a good things happening now and coming.
That's how something like Stranger Things happened, because they were able to. Netflix was there. They took a chance on them, and it became just like a huge success.
It certainly did, and it's captured a lot of people's imaginations. And like a show like that inspires a bunch of other shows similar to it. So
right.
I just always worry that it seems like, it seems like we have the internet and social media has, given us a lot of information at our fingertips, but at the same time, it's kind of just made us all lazier. Like you had to go before, like you guys were saying how many books you read and stuff like that. It's like you had to go looking. You had to go to the library. You had to go to, certain sources to find things that were not easy, and you really had to dig for it. And now it's just like, I just looked it up on Wikipedia, and you got like a thumbnail of the information. You don't really have deep information on it. You just have like maybe the basic idea behind it or something like that. And I think that because of that, for all these reasons, nobody knows how to articulate or how to tell a story that hits deep chords within us. It's all surface.
I mean, I think a lot of what's been saying is like it's story by committee, and you can't resonate. Yeah. You can't resonate with someone when a writer is answering to 30 different people on a boardroom, and you have to hit all of their requests and tell the story at the same time. It's too many cooks in the kitchen or whatever.
Yep.
And if you look at even back in the 90s, like, granted, TV was generally better, but we still had the same issue. Like, looking at Star Trek specifically, I've said this before, Guy has said this before, that, when Deep Space Nine was running, before Voyager started, they had all the suits looking at them, and then the first couple seasons were really rough on Deep Space Nine, and then as soon as Voyager started, the suits looked away from Deep Space Nine and was looking at Voyager, and Voyager was a mess all 7 seasons because they had the suits looking at them the entire time. And then Deep Space Nine took off, and it got great because the creative people got to make creative decisions and tell a story that they wanted to tell, and they didn't have the suits breathing down their neck. And I think just today, with all the Me Too stuff and all the controversy and all the shady stuff happening, I think there's even more designed by committee just to make it as squeaky clean as possible, and that's making us live in kind of like a creative dark ages right now, because we're not seeing real creative visions. We're seeing, like you were saying earlier, just this churning of just suits making a story, looking at ratings, looking at brainwaves, just to make a buck. And it's not about the art; it's about making a buck. And art has always been about making the buck, but now it's only about making the buck and not about.
It's too micromanaged,
yeah. Nothing good comes from micromanagement.
And we see they're mining all these old. If it's talking about Good Omens or American Gods or, all these old books that are a little bit older. That they're mining for series, or Game of Thrones is a great example. It's like they use that and they and it's successful because somebody had a great vision, a great idea. It became successful, and then they decide to make a series out of it, and then all of a sudden everyone loves it because that was well thought out. Some writer was sitting at their desk for years, pounding away, thinking of an idea and creating a world or something like that. So
I personally think that last season of Game of Thrones could have I think that if some of the ideas in it had just been fleshed out a little bit more, and they had just had the regular episode length that they had always had, then the number of episodes that they always had, which was 10, I think it would have been an excellent end to the series. But trying to put it in, even though they had longer episodes, but even though they just tried to cram everything into 6 episodes, and it just didn't work as well as it had in the past.
Definitely,
and I think there was probably some pressure to just can it up. Probably,
I think from what I understand, like the Lord and Taylor, whatever their name was, who were working on it, were just tired and wanted it to be over. Which is why they did it. It was boredom with the topic, more so than anything. Because from what I understand, HBO wanted as many episodes as they would make.
Make more.
Make them all.
Make us more money.
Yeah, I know, right?
Then why not just get new writers? Why? If they didn't want to do it anymore,
Probably contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works.
Weren't they supposed to go to write Star Wars movies?
And
Wasn't
then
that what they were supposed to do?
And then that fell through. Yeah, they were probably excited to go do Star Wars. Well, actually, no. I think their first thing was like they were doing a Civil War show on HBO. That fell through.
Yeah.
Or the South won, and it was like going to be a super racist show. I'm like, oh man, this sounds like awful. And then they got
not going to work well for people.
No. And then they got the Star Wars deal, which apparently they backed out of or were fired from. Which, I mean, is probably good considering they half-assed season 8 from all accounts. I don't know. I think now they've got to deal with Warner Brothers for something or other. So they bounced around a lot.
It's unfortunate because I don't necessarily think that the last season of Game of Thrones was truly that bad. I mean, there were some some great effective things in it. But it's just like, if they had just had taken the time to explain motivations of certain characters, I think it would have been better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was rushed. I mean, if nothing else, it was rushed.
Yeah.
What do you guys in Conspirinormal watch these days just for shits and giggles? Any series, anything that even if it's older, I don't know.
Yeah. What are you watching, Adam?
Golden Girls.
Golden Girls. All right.
Just joking. I don't know. I'll let Serfiel take that really because he's actually watching a series right now. So I'm watching anything really.
It's kind of sad, but man, it hardly ever sleeps. I'm watching Strange Angel right now. Finally,
Strange Angel. What's that on?
It's I believe it's like a CBS thing,
Okay.
but it's about Jack Parsons, who was the one of the founders of Jet Propulsion Laboratories, a
Magic Project.
Thelamite, corresponded with Crowley and was one-time friends, but ultimately betrayed by L. Ron Hubbard.
Right. Yeah.
It's really good. I would check it out. And if you're into Strange Angel.
Strange Angel. Okay. And this is on CBS?
It's some kind of CBS streaming thing or something. I don't know, but
interesting. Yeah. Cool. Sounds fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Some of I'm not sure about some of the characters, just the actors and stuff, but it's really good. And just to see these stories that like I've grown up hearing about, reading books about, put to having actually like
dramatization of it.
Yeah, dramatization of like thelemic sex magic rituals and stuff like on like mainstream television. It's like,
that's something that we've noticed that like a lot of the stuff that we talk about on our podcast and people talk about on other podcasts has become really a lot of source material for like screenwriters these days.
I can't imagine it not.
Yeah.
Well, like Stranger Things is really, has to do with a lot of these mythos of like something called Project Montauk and ideas that they were, using kids to like break on through the other side pretty much. And like all this stuff from the fringes of weird conspiracy theory and early LARPs and stuff like that. All that stuff is really being mined for movies and television.
Yeah, right. And when you pick up on these things, I watched I think 2 episodes of that Project Blue Book, and it was like garbage. I was like, I can't even watch this. It was like it's too cookie cutter. I don't know if you guys even got a chance to see any of those.
I've seen some of it, yeah.
I just wasn't into it. I was like, okay, what? It's like they're trying to be a little X-Files, but it's too slick in some ways. I don't know. It was weird.
Are you talking about the J. Allen Hynek one? Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen any of them.
You could live your whole life and probably never see it. You'll be all right. So,
I mean, we all got into some pretty cheesy stuff as far as how we first got into stuff. So I try to be. That's something I've really been working on, is to try to be more open to the fact that a lot of people need more accessible gateways to all this type of material. I was like a kid with the Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown books, and, so
I got to tell you, I mean, honestly, because I've been listening to you guys for a long time, like maybe 2016 or 15. I can't remember when I started. It's some years back.
Wow.
Some of the stuff I would not understand what you guys were talking about because I didn't have any frame of reference, and it took me a while to understand. And even some of the concepts you talked about, it took me years to figure that stuff out. So I mean, there's just stuff that the depth is so deep on a lot of the stuff, and it's mind bending as it is. So
Yeah, I'm kind of bad about explaining certain things.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like inside baseball, kind of, but people who are deeper into the stuff, like, they need that because they can't watch a program like what you're talking about anymore. It's like,
yeah, and that's what I think I was trying to get at, is that you watch X-Files or something like that, and you get like this idea of stuff, and you're like, okay, that's cool. I want to, like, that'd be interesting to find out more about this, or you read about something. It's only a surface article or something you read about, something. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then I listen to you guys, and you guys are like you said, really deep in the weeds, and I got to do my homework, and some of that stuff is not readily available.
Yeah.
It's not like you can Google search certain things and be like, oh, that's what that's about, or that it's clear, So, and that's not anything against you guys. I think you have to graduate to another level to understand certain things, and it takes time. Actually, I think what you guys would be great if sometime in the future, when you have more free time, put together a reading list of like must-read books. I know the Saucer Life did like a must reads or something, or most important.
Yeah, he just had like top 10 or something like that.
Yeah, and you saying it's not my favorite.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys talk about a lot of stuff, but like these books, if you're stuck on a desert island, what books do you need?
Right,
that would be cool. But yeah, it's not a me saying that I didn't understand everything. It's more about me.
Yeah, we totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you graduate certain levels of understanding, and then you go to the next thing. You're like, okay, now I understand this, but what's this next thing about? So, cool. Dave, anything else you got to say?
No, I'm good here.
Well, Adam Serfiel, I really am glad you could join us on this episode. One of my favorite podcasts, and I'm looking forward to the Strange Reality Conference, September 5th to 27th. And again, it's at strangerealitiesconference.com. $20, guys. Have your mind expanded. Very much so.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, Aaron. This has been awesome.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. This is real fun.
So happy to talk to you guys. Guys, just why don't you give out any information, just how to contact you or anything for Conspirinormal.
Okay. www.conspirinormal.com is our website. You can find this Conspirinormal with an I. You can email us, conspirinormal@gmail.com, if you really like. And also about the Strange Realities Conference, I'll give that again. If you want to find out information, a little bit more about the speakers that we have going on September 25th, 26th, and 27th, you can go to strangerealitiesconference.com.
Awesome. And for us, you can email us if you have anything further to say about Lower Decks or UFOs or anything else that we talked about, or you can email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com. You can also hit us up on our Facebook group, Facebook.com/groups/synthaholics. You can also go to our hit us up on Twitter at Synthaholics Duo. And if this show is something you'd like to support, go to our Patreon for Synthaholics, and you can contribute there. All right, Adam, Serfiel, Dave, awesome talking to all of you. And next week we'll get into more Lower Decks.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
Live long and prosper.
Absolutely.
Well, McCoy, my boy, come mix me a drink. Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink, and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend